Let's still stick with the football. It is the story of the day. Mamelodi Sundowns have announced that they have parted ways with the reigning DStv Premiership coach of the season, their head coach, Rhulani Mokwena. To dissect this, we are joined via Zoom by SABC Sport senior journalist Mazola Molefe. Mazola, a very good evening to you. I mean, they don't call you the super journal for nothing. Yesterday at 7:32 in the morning, I remember you broke the story that Mamelodi Sundowns and Rhulani Mokwena would be parting ways this afternoon. They confirmed the story. I mean, firstly, congratulations on fantastic journalistic work.
Thank you, Coley, and I just want to obviously greet our viewers this evening as well. Yeah, it's a tough one. It was a tough story to publish because a lot of us obviously rate Coach Rhulani Mokwena highly, winning the league with 23 points, 7 games to spare, winning the African Football League. But of course, because of a rocky relationship or broken down relationship with the sporting director, and parts of what the club is saying in the statement as well, that the coach did not meet objectives that have been set out for him at the beginning of the season, which is obviously going all the way in the Champions League and maybe grabbing a few domestic cups here and there. I say the next coach that's coming in better walk on water. If a guy who wins the league, 7 games to spare with 23 points, wins the AFL in its inaugural year, wins the league for the second year in a row and is coach of the season, if he walks, then his predecessor has to deliver miracles.
I mean, you are privy to the finer details. What was the bone of contention here? Because you speak about the sporting director, Flemingberg, but this obviously wouldn't have been something that happened now. How long had the break in relations started to occur?
Well, I picked up on it about a few months ago when obviously listening attentively to the coach's post-match press conferences, whether he'd won a game or lost a game, or whether it was an unfavorable result on Mamelodi Sundowns' part. And of course, being able to interview him touchline as well as I am one of the touchline presenters for SABC Sport, I could pick up that this is not the usual way that he responds to answers on the touchline. Talking about needing a lot of support, needing Chairman Tlhophi Motsepe's support, being under pressure, changing tactics in the Champions League semi-final against Esperance, feeling like he failed himself, he let the players down. And I'm thinking, this guy has just won the league with 7 games to spare and he's talking like this. There has to be something behind the scenes that perhaps has gone awry. And that's when I began digging. In actual fact, probably as far back as January, when the coach had said in these press conferences that he wanted a striker, given that Peter Shalulile had been out for some time. Prior to him making the Namibia squad to go to the AFCON, Lucas Ribeiro had been struggling with muscle injuries, and the coach had requested a striker, which, as we were later learned, it was Tsehofatso Mabasa, who at the time was on loan from Orlando Pirates to Moroka Swallows, and they were having financial challenges, and this could have paved the way perhaps for Tseho to move across. But instead, the players that he got were wide players. Sundowns spent around 40 million rand on Tashreeq Matthews, spent around 43 million on Matthias Escaviel, 2 wide players, and the issues were not addressed. And it's come out then that this was the vision and perhaps the intention of the sporting director, as that is the way that he saw the players. And I can tell you for a fact, Tony, that Tembinkosi Lodge was not part of the plans. And this perhaps was part of appeasing the coach in getting him a player that he previously worked with at Orlando Pirates to come across 6 months before his contract ended at Orlando Pirates. So already from there, they were not pulling in the same direction. And I suppose over time it got worse up until today, the official statement being released a day after we broke the story.
Sure. Yeah, no, it is quite shocking because he's only 37 years old. He's won the coach of the season now 3 times in a row. He was able to do, what he did on the continent with the AFL. So where do you think is going to be the next step for Coach Rhulani Mokwena?
Well, there's actually another article that we are going to schedule for. Again, set your alarm clocks, 7:32 in the morning. About I've had an interview with the coach's agent, just asking him now that confirmation has come through from the club, what would be the coach's plans? You know, in our story, we'd had inside information that potentially the coach could be taking a sabbatical and maybe pursuing more of his coaching badges. But if there's interest elsewhere, perhaps he could potentially put a pause on his sabbatical. You know as well as I do that coaches love the grass.
Yes.
They can't stay away for too long. So even if he's planning a break somewhere, he might just resurface at another club. So look out for that article on sabcsport.com tomorrow as well.
And quickly, Mazola, in terms of Sundowns, are the rumors about Patrice Carteron coming through, the former Al Ahly coach, is there any truth to that?
Not that I know of. I would love to also get my hands on that short list of potential candidates for the Mamelodi Sundowns job. But, Patrice Carteron is a highly rated coach on the African continent, and I'm not surprised that every time a job becomes available, he gets linked. He was linked to Pirates before coach Jose Ribeiro. He was linked to Chiefs before Nasreddin Nabi. Now he's linked to Mamelodi Sundowns.
All right. Thank you so much, Mazola Molefe. He has asked us to set our alarms, and I'll be the first one to do that as we find out where coach Rhulani Mokwena is headed to after he parted ways with Mamelodi Sundowns.